Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, welcome. My name is Danny. I am a holistic nutritionist and I practice intuitive eating, and we also talk a lot about gut health, health in general, wellness, and all of that fun stuff here on my channel. So today we are going to be talking about, actually I am going to be talking about my personal story. I have had a whirlwind of a health journey. It has been many years in the making, and it is actually what has propelled me into this passion of mine for health and wellness and becoming a nutritionist. It is crazy how God can send us on these weird, crazy, ridiculous, and sometimes painful journeys and what they can turn into. And so today I'm going to be sharing part one of part three of my very long and crazy health journey. So this will probably be a long one. Definitely grab a snack and let's dive right on in. Okay, so let's get started. It's 2009 and I have just gone to college. I went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I am from Southern California, so it's about a 4-hour drive for me. It was the first time I've been away from my family, and I was living it up the first semester of my college career. It was a ton of fun. I lived in the dorms, had some amazing, just wild and crazy times, and made a lot of really close friends that I am still really close with today. And about winter quarter, something switched, and I started to not be that fun, lighthearted, exciting friend that I was when they first met me. I actually was in a lot of pain all of the time, and I couldn't figure it out. I went to the health center multiple times a week, and they probably got so sick of me. In fact, I know they got very sick of me because they continued to tell me that I was fine and just send me on my way. But basically what had started to occur is I developed this very sharp, excruciating pain on the lower right-hand side of my abdomen. It definitely was debilitating when it kicked in. It was not there all of the time in the beginning, but as it progressed, it just began to become a much duller pain, but still there constantly, to the point where I eventually could not wear pants. Even underwear hurt. Yes, so when that first started happening, I went to the health center on my university and told them about my pain. They took my blood to see if it was appendicitis, because isn't that what any logical doctor would think when you have a pain on the lower right-hand side of your abdomen? Of course we would think it's appendicitis. And so they did all of the tests. They did some of the poking and prodding around like they typically do. And lo and behold, they found nothing. They told me to take Advil and sent me on my way. So did that, took Advil, was not doing anything. Went back to the health center again, did the same thing, same doctor saw me, took my blood, everything was fine. And then they decided that, well, maybe you're a little constipated. So why don't let's prescribe you some laxatives. So go home, take the laxatives. Now, remind you, I'm in a dorm room. So I shared a bathroom with about, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many, probably at least 36 other girls, at least. And so that was fun. I did my very best to time the laxative of taking the laxative so that if I did have to get up and go, it would be in the middle of the night and no one would have to hear me. There were also a lot of other tips and tricks that we did in order to make sure no one heard us going number 2 in the bathroom. But needless to say, the laxatives did not work. Went back to the health center yet again, had the same doctor who was a very nice older woman who just seemed like she was ready to retire. And went back and saw her again, and at this point she is just kind of like, oh my gosh, we have it's one of those, we have one of those on our hands. But I continue to say look lady, it hurts. I don't know what to tell you. I can barely put on jeans. I can barely put on pants. I had to literally wear sweatpants to school. Thank God that Juicy Couture velour sweatsuits were in style, because that's about all I wore. I have a friend to this day who actually knew me before she even knew me, and we became friends as the girl who wore sweatsuits to class. That was me. rock on, juicy couture. So I went back to the health center, and yet again, they were like, you're fine, take some Advil, you might be passing an ovarian cyst, but what are we gonna do? You can't do anything about it. So at this point, I was kind of at a loss, didn't really know what to do, and so I just went about my life, tried to deal with it the best I could, and then one day it got so bad that I could barely stand up straight. I had to hunch over, hold my side, put pressure on it in order for the pain to go away. Now, I basically crawled to the health center from my dorm room, and needless, like, our campus was so hilly that I should have just rolled, to be honest. But I made it to the health center. I luckily had a different doctor this time who was actually younger, like much younger. I feel like she was just straight out of med school, which was better for me because I felt like, okay, great, I have somebody new. She might take me seriously. So she put me on the table, did just a physical exam, and pressed on that side of my right abdomen, and I just about punched her in the face. Not on on purpose, but not on purpose. I didn't know I was actually going to do that when she pushed down. It was just a reflex. It hurt that bad. And she gave me this look of like, oh, like it was gnarly. And the first thing she said to me was, "Do you have health insurance?" And I go, oh shoot, this is serious. Like, first of all, thank God someone is actually believing me now. But second of all, I actually don't know if I have health insurance, and I probably should ask. So I get on the phone with my mom and I go, "Hi Mom, I'm at the health center and the doctor's wanting to know if I have health insurance because they might need to send me to the emergency room because I might have appendicitis." And she starts freaking out, and I go, "It's not for sure yet, they're doing blood work, but blah, blah, blah." So she gets on the phone and basically figures out if I have health insurance. Ends up, I did have health insurance through my school, thank God, but they again do a blood test to see if my white blood cells are elevated enough to have appendicitis. And lo and behold, they were not, and she sent me home. Despite understanding what actually physical excruciating pain I was in, she sent me home. And at that point, my mom was like, "This is ridiculous. You're coming home and we're taking you to a doctor and we're getting a 500th opinion." And so I went home, went to a doctor. They did much more extensive testing. And this time she actually found something. And she goes, "So based on the ultrasound, we see that you have an ovarian cyst. However, it is not an ovarian cyst that you can pass. It is something that needs to be taken care of through surgery." So I'm like, okay, we have an answer. That's fine. This is in January, I believe, December, January. It was when I went home for winter break. And we scheduled my surgery for April. I remember because my surgery was a week before Stagecoach. And so we scheduled my surgery. I went back to school. They said I couldn't do any physical activity because the cyst could potentially twist into my ovary, and that would just not be good because then they would have to take my ovary and ultimately leave me infertile. So I stayed very calm. I didn't do much. I was not a very fun roommate to have, although I did take care of my roommate when she would come home drunk. And so I did that, and then I went home. My dad actually drove up to San Luis Obispo, picked me up to take me down to have my surgery. I was going to be out for a week. All my teachers were amazing, and they said I could do all of my work remotely and whatnot, so I was ready to go. Went home, got ready. This was the first surgery I was ever going to have. I had never had surgery before, so I was, needless to say, very nervous. Go to the hospital. They obviously walk you through like worst case scenario. So it was very much something along the lines of worst case scenario. We go in there and the cyst is attached to her ovary and we're going to have to take the ovary and she will be left infertile is basically what they told us. So not the greatest feeling for a mom to leave her daughter in that aspect, but I mean, we trusted and had faith that everything was going to be okay. So walk into the operating room, lay down on the table, have the mask put on my face, and I had no idea what was going on. And about 20 minutes after I went into the operating room, the surgeon came out to my mom and said, "Your daughter's surgery has gone in a different direction." And that's part 1 of my crazy wild story. Part 2 will be below, so if you are interested, check that out. But yeah, it's a good one, so I just suggest you check it out. But that's all I have for you guys today. I love you. Bye.